All right, guys, we're here with world-renowned chef Andrew Zimmern and author as well. So, just a couple social questions we'll do. So, best meal and worst meal you've ever had. It's a loaded question.
Oh my gosh. Worst meal that I ever had. They recur every single year when I go to someone else's house that thinks that if it's good to cook a pork chop for 20 minutes, it's even better if you cook it for an hour. And the best meals that I've ever had have been in people's homes who don't really have food to share and find a way to turn 4 bowls of something into 8 bowls of something, because that's the experience that I crave, and it's also something that hits you right where you need to be hit and reminds you how grateful you are if you have a food life, because we have to remember 22% of the global population, 20% plus of Americans don't have a food life to speak of. That's beyond criminal.
Now, obviously, you've been all around the world, but do you have a top three cities with the best food in the world?
Oh my God, that's also loaded. It really depends where I just got back from. I will say this: if we start like slicing away categories, right? The European capitals are fantastic. I love French food. I love Italian food. You know, London's doing amazing things. Love German food, Croatia, all the rest of that. But they are about this wide and about this deep compared to Mexico and China, which are this wide and this deep. But you can't discount the beauty of eating in Bangkok or Tokyo. However, I will put Queens, New York, just one borough, up against any single food place on planet Earth when it comes to variety and quality. There still is nothing quite like that experience.
Oh, I love that answer as a Queens native.
Oh,
So,
right on. I mean, but here's the thing: you have hundreds of ethnicities represented in populations
yeah.
of 5,000 and more, with new arrivals all the time, which means that people from Tashkent who live in Queens are cooking for people who need that taste of home the day that they arrive there. It keeps the food really, really honest, and I have found my experiences eating in Queens to always be the most sublime. If you want really great Liberian food, and Liberian food is amazing, a lot of seafood, if you like spicy things, can be very spicy. Liberian food, you want to go anywhere in the world outside of Liberia and eat Liberian food, good luck, but it's happening in Queens.
Being that New York is such a melting pot, just sticking to New York for a sec, is there a meal or food that kind of just, if you can pick one, embodies New York, or is that just not possible?
Well, we live in a nation of immigrants, and this city represents that, I think, more than any other does, right? So it is really hard to pin down. I mean, what is quote unquote American food is a difficult question. What is New York City food is a difficult question. However, my family has been here for 5 generations. 5 generations of Zimmerns have eaten at Russ and Daughters. 5 generations of Zimmerns have eaten at Katz's Deli. For me, I remember my first pastrami sandwich with my grandmother when I was 5-year-old at Katz's, and I remember taking her great grandson, my child, to Katz's for the first time and seeing him eat his first pastrami sandwich. So, and the same with a bagel with a schmear at Russ and Daughters. So I'm going to have to lean in there with the food of my people.
Diving into sports real quick, I mean, is there, outside of Minnesota, of course, a top three stadiums or stadium food specifically that you've enjoyed?
Oh my gosh. Stadiums have taken on a regional approach to eating, and the companies that are doing food service in stadiums have recognized that people now are much more demanding of their food experience in a stadium than they were 20 years ago. I wish we could eliminate all of the ultra processed food that goes into a lot of the stadium food, not for the reasons that you think, although I wish they would eliminate it for health and wellness reasons. But I don't want to pay $15 for a slice of pizza that was baked off yesterday and sat in a cardboard box for 12 hours. I think that's an insult. I think companies who manage those facilities can do better. You can cook a hamburger to order. You can cook a hot dog to order. You can bake pizzas to order. You can put it in an oven for 90 seconds and it cooks in your backyard with one of those, little mini ovens. A big stadium can do it. I was at Crypto Arena last
in LA.
year for a basketball game, Clippers game. With the Wolves, and there was a smash burger place there cooking burgers to order. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, that's really great. When I got up to the front, I saw they had a sign that said, we use only grass-fed beef from these farmers. And I was like, wow, they're really getting it. And you want to know something? Their line was the longest for a reason. So I hope everybody is recognizing that that's what consumers want. A couple of places regionally that I think do a really great job. The San Francisco Giants, right? I mean, they're where they play locationally, geographically. There's so much available to them there, but I happen to love. It sounds bougie, and I don't order it all the time. But the fact that the Ferry Farmers Market has a booth at the stadium, and you can actually get grilled vegetable and cheese sandwiches, speaks as much about how good the food is everywhere else in that stadium as anything does. I happen to think that what I've seen in Texas, where the Rangers play, again, is you can see I'm a baseball fan, right?
Yeah.
Has some really, really spectacular stuff. Dodger Stadium over the last couple of years has really been, as much as I've mourned the passing of the Dodger dog, the brand that they used, because these things go out to bid, right, as to whose hot dog they're going to put on a bun. And it was Farmer John's in Los Angeles for a long time, and I don't think they do it anymore. But they do a great job out there as well. And right here at home, Madison Square Garden is as good as it gets. And a huge shout out to XL Energy, where I live, where the Wild play. I think they do a fantastic job as well.
Last one from me, KZ Provisioning. Talk to me a little bit about, more so, obviously not the business, as you mentioned up here, but what problem or void is KZ Provisioning solving in how we feed athletes?
Well, until we came along, nobody was taking a look at why we weren't feeding our athletes the absolute best food for optimal performance, recovery from injury, data-driven, with a huge hospitality surround. Right? When you go into a restaurant, the place that anticipates your need, they see someone scribbling cards, they may whisper in someone's ear, is there a birthday coming up, right? Maybe note something in the computer for your next visit. Taking that extra step, giving you something before you even thought of it that you're really going to enjoy, we bring that into all of our businesses. I think the work that we do in our family rooms is probably, because everyone expects that we take care of the athletes, but when they see how we take care of the family, how we take care of the staff, and what we do for all of our teams, portal to portal, that's the real difference maker, and no one can touch our hospitality and data-driven performance components.
Appreciate it.